Welcome to another weekly edition of our StaySmart newsletter and podcast brought to you by Vicinity Corporate Housing. We try to keep you updated on what we see happening in the industry. Some really good articles for you this week. The first one comes from the airline industry. The airlines and their trade associations have asked a federal judge to overturn some of the new rules that the Department of Transportation had put in place around to price transparency, the add-on fees, during the buying process. The airlines are really just saying that these, where it needs to happen, and they're not disclosing the price information. It's confusing by having to put it at the beginning of the process. The Biden administration has been pushing for kind of price transparency and airfare, hotels, apartment communities, Airbnbs, a lot of things what they call junk fees, they're trying to get out of the industry. And I think airlines are just saying they're not opposed to that. They just don't think they have to do it at this point in the buying process. So interesting information from the airline industry. Another from the corporate housing segment, there's a great article about Voyager. It's kind of a boutique corporate housing company in Madison, Wisconsin. Great little company in Madison. It talks about a new property that they're releasing. I met Julia and Christopher this year at the MRC conference and at CHPA. If you're looking for a good provider in Wisconsin, particularly Madison, Wisconsin, check this out. It's a great article about some of the new inventory that they're bringing online. And then there's an article about the NAR, National Apartment Association of Realtors, their settlement. They're giving a deadline for those changes of August 17th. So this is really obviously around buyer agent compensation. And if you're going to be taking part in the settlement that NAR has put together, you have until August 17th to make those changes. Really, it's about the disclosures that you need to put out there. But really good information if you're in the real estate industry, especially if you're going to be a buyer's agent. Take a look at that article. And there's a great article about the apartment industry and about the demand in Q1. I think it's kind of a surprise about how strong the demand was in the apartment industry. We've talked a lot about the supply side, how a lot of new apartment communities coming online this year in particular, and how in Q1 we saw a huge net absorption from that demand of 52,000 units with a number of 73,000 units that were brought online. So obviously demand's not keeping up with supply right now, but it looks like it's starting to get in balance, especially in some markets. So you saw rent growth was stable, where we've seen here in the Midwest and Northeast, we're still seeing rent increases. Other parts of the country seeing flat or slight decreases. But I think we'll see, it'll be interesting because it talks about in this article, later this year, we actually may see demand outpace supply a little bit sooner than I think people were anticipating this year in the apartment industry. And then finally, there's an article about Microsoft looking to relocate some of its employees out of China, and has a lot to do. These are kind of AI employees or AI specialty employees. Some tension, U.S.-China relations, and they're talking about in this article about that's why they're looking to relocate these employees. But I think what's interesting about this is obviously relocation's been down this year, the last couple of years maybe, and I think really sought after employees like AI employees are probably going to see more relocations than other segments. So I think it's an interesting article about Microsoft relocating some of their employees. So those are the articles that we have this week. I'd love to hear from you. Anything that you want to talk about, please let us know. Go ahead and put that in the comment section here. If you haven't subscribed to our newsletter or podcast, go ahead and do that. If you'd like to hear anything else about Vicinity Corporate Housing, I'd love to tell you more about our employee-owned company. But that's what I see transitioning this week. Take care, everyone.